So this one is another gravity feed. The biggest indicator that tells me it's a gravity feed is that it gives me a tubing drop factor. Okay, so it didn't necessarily say anything about use a gravity infusion or whatever, but it does tell me a drop factor. So big alert that it is a gravity feed. We have an order for 250 milliliters of D5W at 75 milliliter per hour. Tubing drop factor says there's 10 drops per 1 mil. And we need to figure out how many drops per minute we will set for the infusion. So, desired answer, drops per minute. Our first fraction needs drops in it, since that is our desired answer. So, tubing drop factor is the only thing that says anything about drops, and it tells us that there are 10 drops per 1 mil. That does put 1 mil into the bottom, so I need milliliters at the top of my next fraction. And that typically comes from your order, the 250 milliliters of D5W, and it happens at 75 milliliters per hour. Now, keep in mind, we do have to get some timing thrown in there, right? Because we got to get to minutes. So I'm going to use that 75 milliliter per hour, but I can't have hour in the bottom. I need minute, so we need that conversion. That 1 hour is 60 minutes. Now, I did put the hour on the top because we had hour on the bottom here, so that means we need hour in the top for our next fraction. So I think that's got it set up. Let's look at our units. The milliliters cancel, the hours cancel, we have drop on top and minute on bottom, so should be good to go. But I wanted to point out the red words that I have up here. It just kind of helps guide you on what the usual is. Okay, if we start off with our desired answer unit, if we're working drops per minute, usually that starting piece is going to be our drop factor, okay, and then we will jump to our order, and then most times you're going to have a conversion because usually that order is written in hours and we need it to be written for minutes. So do your math. We multiply the top, multiply the bottom, and then by the time we divide, we wind up with a 12.5. But again, remember that we are going to round to a whole number here because you can't count half a drop. So 12, but we stop at the 2, look one past it, so that number is 5 or bigger, so that bumps our 2 up to a 3. So we have 13 drops per minute. Now I did want to point out that we didn't get to use the 250 milliliters, right? 250 milliliters. I was reading through it and thought I might use it, but we went with the 75 milliliter per hour because that one has the timing written with it, right? It's 75 milliliters per hour, and I could change hours into minutes. This 250 milliliters, it didn't have any timing with it whatsoever, okay? So you don't use it in the math problem, but it's not that it's unnecessary information. I mean, that is the order. That's what you're going to have to grab from the supply closet. Okay, so you need to know that you need to pick up the 250 milliliter bag as opposed to the 500 milliliter bag. So it's necessary information, just not for our math problem. And sometimes you run into that.